to a special edition of the MGoPodcast. We are live at the Champions Circle Golf Classic. We have something unusual for our podcast, which is access to players and even SHERRONE MOORE, so hopefully we won't screw it up too much. We're starting off with Max Bredeson and Jack Tuttle. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Awesome.
They are not live. They are muted.
What happened there? Yeah.
All right, we're going to try that again. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
They are still not live.
Well, that's interesting.
Is mine live?
All right.
Yeah,
So Max,
I'm happy.
Max is good. We can't get Jack Tuttle. Jack Tuttle has been in college for 7 years, and we can't get him on. He's been waiting for this moment.
I mean, it was just a button. I think I had to push up a little bit.
Okay.
Jack, try it now.
Testing.
Jack, what are you doing?
He's just talking like he should be talking. What's going on?
I don't know. This is.
You didn't check this out before we started?
I did, but that was 20 minutes ago. I mean,
right.
Things can change, can't they?
They can.
Yeah.
So Max, we're gonna start with you, I guess.
That's good.
So last year you moved to fullback.
Mm-hmm.
When did this who approached you with that position change, and how did you come to feel about it?
So it isn't really as much of a position change as it's thought of I'm still in the tight end room.
Yeah.
I'm a tight end. I just happen to my best ability is in the backfield and off the ball, true fullback type of versatility. And it's not as much a position change. It wasn't hey,
Right.
we want you to do this. It's just we kind of found over time that's what I do best. And with just time on task, we just found that that's my best ability. So do it more.
So you've gone over a whole season of playing fullback. Are you aware that last year Pro Football Focus, they graded every fullback, every tight end in America? You and A.J. Barner are 1 and 2 in run blocking.
Someone told me about that, I forget when, but me and Barner took a lot of pride in that, and we were always we were joking around a little bit, who's going to take the one spot. So,
all right, because it was really remarkable because you have Jim Harbaugh. He comes in here. He's got Siona Huma. He's got Khalid Hill. He's got Ben Mason. He's got all these fullbacks. And then in 19 and 20, Michigan does not have a fullback. And the 2020 season, not very good. And then Max Bredeson shows up, and all of a sudden, Michigan starts winning Big Ten titles because they got a fullback on the roster. They don't know it yet. And when he's actually wearing 44, they win a national title. So thank you for your contribution.
that reckoned it out.
Well, and the overtime in the Rose Bowl, I thought was really emblematic of what you guys were able to do. Because the first play, they go off a double tight end side, and Barner and Colson Loveland cave in that side. They get 8 yards. And then on the Rose Bowl winning offensive play, it's you with the kick-out block on their nickel. Mm-hmm. And did you, once you get locked onto a guy, do you have a sense for okay, I'm going to win this block. I'm going to move this guy. And or is it just you're just in the moment and you're just trying to get your job done? It's
I'd say that feeling comes with time over the season. That's where I've definitely grown, but especially with reps in practice, you kind of on that play you can already feel the space before you get there. So
sure. The
block changes depending on space, time, speed. But yeah, you definitely have a feel, and that's I'd say that's one of the biggest attributes you have to have is a feel for where you are in the field.
Right.
When you need to win the block, when you need to create movement, and when you have something already good going to just.
Right, because there's some guys who you're going to come up against, and you're just trying to hold them off. If it's a defensive end versus a nickel or something. But if you get a nickel, you're going to want to create more space, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean you always want some sort of we call it vertical drive back.
Okay.
You always want to create that space, and if it's defensive end, same thing. But certain body types you can do.
Yeah, because
better.
I chart these games, but I'm a layman. I've played football, so it seems like a lot of the time, a kick out block, which you do a lot of, is sort of mutually agreed upon between the offense and the defense. Because they want to hold the edge, so they're going to be on the outside, and you want to kick them out. And then one thing that you were able to do more frequently than pretty much anyone I've ever like charted is move the guy who you're kicking out. So is that like an accurate characterization of like a kick out block is something that there is often just kind of there, and you don't really need to like, I mean, as long as you're there walling the guy off, it's not that hard, but then the hard part is to create extra space.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually like a really great point for you said you never played football. That's actually like a very, very good point.
I've charted a lot of football.
That's actually a very good analysis that like almost if you looked at the film and like in the moment of impact, if you switch the jerseys like and didn't know who each other were, you could make an argument for both sides or on offense.
Right, yeah.
So it's a really good point. But yeah, then like you're both really trying to do the same job. Like he wants to be locked out. He wants to be in the same spot that he started.
Yeah.
And you want to
Lock
ideally
him out,
not let him. You want to stay in the same spot you started.
Yeah.
And then the battle happens. But yeah, like that's a really good point. Like it's mutually agreed on. Like if you watch like a true kick out or like a true split zone, like you can make an argument that either side is on offense if you just like took that little piece. So yeah, that's like a great way to put it.
Do we have Jack now?
Yeah, we could try. Jesus, Jack.
It's not his. Stop doing that.
I'm sorry. Keep on trying.
All right, we're gonna keep on trying. We're
Try him now. Keep going. I don't know what we did there. We had it working until we didn't. Yeah.
All right. Well,
just want to just give him Max's headset.
yeah.
Real quick?
Let's do that. Thank you, Max.
Quick switch.
All right. All right,
go.
Jack
There we
Tuttle.
go.
We're talking to Jack Tuttle. So, you've been around the block.
Yeah.
You come into Utah as a top 100 recruit, if I remember correctly. Then you're at Indiana. You're behind Michael Penix. There's no shame in losing a job to Michael Penix. And then you transfer here with no prospect of winning the starting job. And what was the thought process like behind that?
Well, Mike Hart was at Indiana before, and he came to Michigan. So I had a couple conversations with him on what I wanted to do for my future. And, you know, I had one last year, and I had options. But I just wanted to be around good people. I knew Coach Campbell was there. I know Coach Moore was there, and Coach Hart. And it was, okay, I'm going to go be with people I'm comfortable with. I'm going to go try and help them win a national championship and do everything I can for them. So I made that decision. Said, hey, you know, I might not start. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy was the guy, right? He's an absolute stud. But I'm going to go do everything I can, and was able to back him up last year. And when I did played well and had a blast.
You played in a lot of third quarters.
I played in a lot of third quarters. We did some smashing last year, for sure. It was a good time.
It was nice. We got to call it Tuttle time.
We called it Tuttle time, yeah. So, but now J.J. McCarthy's in the NFL. You have a shot at a starting job. You took an injury year. Like, was that part of your thought process when you came here, or was that just like, you know, I've taken my 6th year, I have an opportunity for a second, I'm gonna like shoot my shot?
Yeah, well, to be honest, we didn't really know at the beginning of the year what I was gonna do. There was a couple options. I knew I had the injury in the book. There was some other stuff at the beginning of my career that was unfortunate. And, you know, second half of the year, I talked to Coach Harbaugh. I was like, yeah, man, I want you back, and we'll see what happens, obviously, with JJ and everything else. But want you back. So we went through that whole process, and it actually wasn't all that. It was pretty easy. Got the year back pretty fast, and decided I was going to play.
I was prepping for this yesterday, and I saw a video of you welcoming Britton Covey back from his mission.
Yeah, that was like 30 years ago.
Britton Covey killed Michigan in Jim Harbaugh's first game here.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. Like, Michigan's first game with Jim Harbaugh was at Utah.
Who was the quarterback? Travis Wilson?
I don't remember. I just remember this like freshman slot receiver from Utah just ripping Michigan a new one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't. You're like a connection to the very first game of the Harbaugh era. It's wild.
He was unbelievable. He's a good kid too.
Well, he was a freshman. And he took that mission. Then I think he had a COVID year, so he was like just in college football for 8 years or something.
It was unbelievable.
It was traumatic.
He came back. I remember actually welcoming him back from the airport.
Yeah, that's the video I saw.
'Cause I actually played him in high school.
Did you?
Yeah, my freshman year. He was a senior or something like that. He was at Timpview or something like that in Utah, and I was at Mission. It was my freshman year, and I played like half my freshman year in varsity. In the first half, I was like in the second halves. But remember going in against him, and I was like, he carved us up, and we lost to them because he had like 200-something receiving yards.
Oh,
and
yeah,
100 rushing.
I
so.
experienced that.
Yeah. So
as a fan.
it was
not as a
ridiculous.
player.
But I was happy to be on the same team with him.
Oh
for a
yeah,
minute, you know,
he was incredible. But
He
so
was. It was Travis Wilson, by the way.
Travis
was the quarter.
Wilson.
Travis
Oh.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Who's also unbelievable. He was from San Clemente, actually, California kid. Good dude.
6'7". I had my old notes still in here too.
yeah, wow, this is old. We haven't. He brought up our charts before we started blinging them out.
Yeah.
So you're in the competition for the starting quarterback with J.J. McCarthy in the NFL, but you weren't able to play in spring practice.
No, yep.
So, I mean, you were here for a year, so you're probably not that far behind the 8 ball, but it's kind of must have been disappointing not to be able to show what you can do.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely made that decision in the season whenever I had the little injury. You know, we made some decisions. I could have gotten the repair a little bit earlier, but just decided to delay it till after the Natty, just in case anything happened I needed to play.
Sure.
So we delayed it till January and decided that, you know, I would unfortunately miss spring, and that hurt, you know, not being with the boys out there, you know, watching film. I still got to be with the guys, and I took a different perspective to the film room and was able to, you know, help out and have an extra set of eyes on the other guys. So everyone got a ton of reps. I thought it was a fantastic spring. I'm super proud of the boys and just really the leadership out of the quarterback room to the team. I think every single guy had a leadership role and really just played their tail off in spring. So
What's it like being behind an offensive line that can block?
yeah, you know, hate to anyone previously, but yeah, I got injured a couple times.
Well, yeah,
because we played Penn State D-lines.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a cracked sternum. That's what people don't really realize. Like,
Yeah.
most of the injuries were just in the pocket stuff and just animals on the D-line. So, like, last year, I think I was really hit only once out of bounds in a game.
Wow.
So, I mean, the O-line took care of me, and I'm blessed to have such a fantastic O-line here.
Yeah, because you were on the team with Penix, and then Penix got hurt, and then you got hurt.
We were both getting smashed.
And, like, I remember Michigan was playing Donovan McCulley as a quarterback as a true freshman a couple of years ago, and I was like, and it was not
He
a
looked like
competitive-
he looked like a future really good receiver.
But, like,
quarterback, yeah.
so we've seen quarterbacks at Michigan like Devin Gardner behind bad offensive lines who just kind of internalize the fact that they're never going to have protection.
Mm-hmm.
And has it been an adjustment for you to be like, I can sit in the pocket for a couple of seconds, I can get to my third read, where you weren't able to do that previously?
No doubt. I think I had a inner clock in my head. I remember there was an average time in the pocket where, like, hey, we had to make our decision like around 2 seconds or a little under it, and then we needed to timer went off. So coming here last year, there was an adjustment to that, but honestly, I think having, you know, like that 2.5, 3 second clock in my head, I was able to, you know, digest and get through the progression pretty quick. And then if I needed to step up in the pocket and move, it was helpful. I had time, you know, I could adjust. So I think being right in that middle area and not just standing there holding the ball forever,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's a good little middle zone, and I thought that actually helped me last year. I was like, okay, I can chill a little bit, but also, you know, urgency.
You don't want to go back to high school
Yeah, exactly.
where it's just like I'm in the pocket for 5 seconds and I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
How much decision making do you end up doing, like before the snap versus after the snap versus, you know, a second after the snap? Like, where do you see a lot? Do you think you see most of what's going to happen before, and then okay, all right, if this guy does this, then I'm going to do that, or like where do those decisions usually get made?
You know, I guess it depends on the play a little bit, but just a regular passing play, there's pre-snap pre-snap plan, and then there's a post-snap plan. So when you look at a defense pre-snap, you're given antics, trying to see any clues or tips they're given to you about pressures or coverages. And when you do snap the ball, you get post-snap verification of what you thought, or it changed from what you thought. So you hope pre-snap you do get the protection
Right.
most of the time. But if you don't and you see it post-snap, okay, he's coming, I can replace him with this receiver, I got to throw my hot now. You have a post-snap plan for what they actually did. So there is a lot of mental play when it comes to quarterback.
And you must have seen a lot of very confusing reads in practice.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Our defense is a tough defense, isn't it?
Because
Max is shaking his head.
Max is like, you
they
have no
show up
idea.
everywhere.
But, I tell you what, our OC, Coach Campbell, does a brilliant job of preparing us for those moments. And any different type of defense we're going to see. So we step up to the line and say, hey, there's 3 possible things that can happen here. And we give antics and do all we can to get tips and narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2. And then post-snap, we're like, okay, it's this defense. Here's what I'm going to do.
All right.
So.
Well, thank you guys. It was
No problem.
excellent talking to you.
Nice to meet
got
you all.
more responsibilities to take care of.
Yep.
Let's get that fixed.
We'll work on it in a sec.
Okay.
Want the perfect game day outfit? Underground Printing has unique, great-fitting U of M apparel and officially licensed apparel from legendary Michigan names like Woodson, Howard, Ufer, and more. UGP also specializes in custom printed apparel and promotional items for groups, events, and businesses. Whether you need 1 shirt as a gift or 1,000 shirts for a charity walk, Underground can customize almost anything for groups large or small. To learn more, visit Underground Printing in one of our 3 convenient locations around Ann Arbor or online at undergroundshirts.com.
It's painless, it's online, it's group ordering made easy for your next custom printed apparel order. Pogo from Underground Printing will save you time and hassle, whether you're selling shirts for a fundraiser, organizing a large event, or trying to collect sizes and payment for a family reunion. UGP is here to help. Save time and hassle every step of the way with our easy-to-use site. No more guessing what to order, chasing down people to pay, or wasting time trying to sort out the order. We'll set it up and you can just sit back and relax. We can even take care of individual shipping. To learn more about Pogo, visit us at any of our convenient locations or at pogo.undergroundshirts.com.
Hey, it's Nick Hopwood, founder and president of Peak Wealth Management, your MGO financial coach, and it is our goal to help you retire with peak confidence. Check us out at peakwm.com/mgoblog. Bo says the team, the team, the team. Lately, my mantra has been the plan, the plan, the plan. Check out the Trust the Plan podcast. Search out my name, Nick Hopwood, on any platform and give us a follow. We haven't updated this ad in over 2 years because since the last versions went live, we only had 1 Big Ten loss, and honestly, I'm a little superstitious. But for this ad, I just want to give a shout out to all the loyal Wolverines and MGoBlog fans who've reached out to us from as far as France, Japan, Seattle, San Francisco, Dallas, Florida, New York, and of course all over the great state of Michigan. And you guessed it, we're pulling recruits out of Ohio as well, just like Harbaugh. Thank you very much. So no matter where life has taken you after your time in Ann Arbor, we're here to help you build a plan you can trust. If you're looking for a second opinion, visit us at peakwm.com/mgoblog today.
Hey fellow Michigan fans, this is Matt Demarest, Realtor and Lender. For a decade now, you've heard me on the podcast talk about mortgages, and I've helped hundreds of fellow Michigan fans in that capacity, including Brian and Seth. But many of you don't know I'm a real estate broker as well. I promise to make buying, selling, or financing homes simple and cost-effective anywhere in the state of Michigan. Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, buying a vacation home, or building a real estate investment portfolio, send me a text or give me a call. It's never too early to make a plan, and the call is always free. My number is 734-882-8194. Again, 734-882-8194. Or you can find me online at realtorandlender.com. That's realtorandlender.com. Whether you want to buy, sell, or finance a home, or even all 3, I promise to provide the experience so many of you have come to expect over the years. And as always, thank you, and go blue. NMLS 1011726, Equal Housing Lender.
the day's first light, the day's first light, and looking out at an ocean blue where the sun starts setting. Just as soon be kicked by a mule, then never see that again. Never see that again. Child's laughter from across the street, carrying it from the playground, can make me smile. There's just such joy in that sound. There's joy in that sound. A loud guitar or a set of drums, or maybe just a violin. Just as soon be kicked by a mule and you never hear that again. Never hear that again. Fresh cut grass, a joint getting past, knock, chomp, a burning. Damn it, I love the sound and smell of popcorn popping. Popcorn popping. Morning dew, lilacs in bloom, fresh coffee brewing. Just as soon be kicked by a mule, then you never smell that again. Never smell that again. A lover's hair, a lover's lips, her hair across my chest. We're slowing down in the afternoon to give ourselves a rest. Give ourselves a rest. A woman's touch, a soft caress, the feeling of skin to skin. Just as
All right, here we are.
Are we? Oh,
We're live. This is that's us.
this is our most very professional podcast in a minute here. All right, so we didn't know exactly when we were gonna get somebody, and I went to the bathroom and somebody came back, and I was like, "Oh, here's Max Bredeson," and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be Chris Farley on SNL here," which was not the right thing to say because he has no idea who Chris Farley is. But this is an MGoPodcast. This is Seth Fisher. I'm Brian Cook.
How you doing?
We are live at the Champion Circle Golf Classic.
And already down one mic.
Yes, we're already down one mic. So there's going to be a silent auction online today featuring signed Michigan football memorabilia, a VIP Michigan men's and women's basketball experience, an NFL Red Zone Ultimate experience. I don't know what that is. A Baltimore Ravens Ultimate experience. So we've got John on the tip here, and then dinner with head football coach SHERRONE Moore and an authentic Michigan basketball locker. This is all online, so you don't actually have to be at AAGO to participate in raising funds to keep Mason Graham on campus.
I mean, if we get enough, do we get another year?
No.
Okay.
No.
He's going to be like the first tackle in the draft now.
He's DT1 for 2025.
After he was ranked a low 4-star because his arms were too short.
But we talked to Max Bredeson and Jack Tuttle. I thought I asked him if he knew whether Pro Football Focus was ranking them 1 and 2, and he's like,
yeah.
We were battling over that during the season. So,
well,
this guy.
You guys missed it after the show. That Max turned to Brian and was just like, man, that no one asked me those kinds of questions before.
I mean, I was just trying to get confirmation of things I've thought for a long time.
Yeah.
But nobody has ever confirmed for me. And
right.
I was like, I want to you want to dig into what you do.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that football players like to sit and yes, I have a mutual understanding with this stranger that he's going to stay outside and I'm going to stay inside, right?
Yeah, but that's the way it works out.
Yeah.
And we're trying to ask him questions that aren't the usual questions they get asked, but aren't so specific that they say, I can't answer that.
Right.
There's always a fine line to draw because, we were like, what did you do on this down? And they're like, wait, I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I did that for like a couple of times previously. We've gotten access to players, and I said stuff like that, and they're like, no. This would be breaking kayfabe. That's not correct. That's not how you use the word kayfabe.
No, but they, and I've gotten it wrong before too.
Oh yeah, well no, if I'm wrong,
yeah.
I just want them to tell them that I'm
Yeah.
wrong because I know
Yeah.
that I've been wrong many times before. I'll be
No,
wrong many times again.
Well, and the thing is, when we're wrong, I think it's more interesting because it means that, first of all, it usually means somebody busted it so bad that somebody else took the blame.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
there was
Speaking of other people taking the blame.
What? Oh, thank you to Underground Printing for making this all possible. Rishi and Ryan have been our biggest supporters from the beginning. Check out their wide selection of officially licensed Michigan fan gear. There are 3 store locations in Ann Arbor, or learn about their custom apparel business at undergroundshirts.com. We'd also like to thank our associate sponsors, Peak Wealth Management, Matt Demarest, Realtor and Lender, Ann Arbor Elder Law, Michigan Law Grad, Human Element, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning, Venue by 4M, where we usually record this, the Sklar Brothers, Autograph, Fandom Rewarded, and Champions Circle, the NIL Fund keeping our team together, who invited us to this shindig.
Yes.
I would not have said shindig if you didn't write it down.
Well,
I would have gone with hootenanny.
Really? I would call it a shindig.
Yeah, I guess.
Because of Firefly. There's a beautiful fruit tray inside that I want to go interrogate like Kaylee.
Okay. So I guess if we're here and we're waiting on other players, we should just kind of talk about vibes about what we're looking forward to in 2024.
Yeah, when people ask me, I think I just answer, I don't know what they're going to do for quarter. Alex Orji's going to have to be really, really good at running, and they're going to have to be okay with running him all year.
Which is an interesting situation to be in because, it was a sea change when J.J. McCarthy became the starting quarterback. In the 21 Ohio State game, he was running all the time. He had a package, and half of it was J.J. McCarthy runs the ball.
Right.
And then he became the starting quarterback, and it was like, we're not going to do this very
this has always happened. Every single Harbaugh quarterback, they cannot keep the ball.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to keep your guy healthy. I understand that. But you're going into a situation where if Alex Orji is the starting quarterback, then his main feature is that he's going to run the ball 15 times a game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting because we didn't see anything indicating that the offense had been radically changed to be shaped around Alex Orji's strengths.
Not at all.
You wouldn't put that in the spring game,
right?
Because you got Texas week 2.
Yeah.
So.
But is it going to be the thing where there's the Rutgers game plan and the Texas game plan?
No, I'm saying that you just don't want to put it on film over the whole offseason so they know exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
I think you don't have a choice in game 1. You got to rep that stuff live, and you're going to give them a week to prep for your single wing stuff. But
yeah.
I look at this roster and you have Kalel Mullings. Kalel Mullings is a fantastic sort of two-way back. He was a great lead blocker last year. He was a great running back last year. You got him.
Yeah.
You have Donovan Edwards, another fantastic two-way player.
And the most explosive running back in the country.
Explosive running back. You have Samaj Morgan.
Yeah.
Who is not just an end-around guy. Michigan targeted him downfield last year, but as an end-around guy, he had a Jimmy's and Joe's play on a jet sweep against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a set of personnel that you could do some Fritz Chrysler stuff with.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to do Fritz Chrysler's, who they used to pass to back in those days is tight ends.
Well, yeah.
And you got Colston Loveland.
Colston Loveland, who's a guy who doesn't tip whether you're running or passing. You've got and
Max Bredeson, who that's an offense.
That's an offense.
Yeah.
Your best, your most talented offensive players are oh man, we gotta have a spinning fullback.
Yeah.
But you can't implement that without implementing it.
Yeah.
You can't kind of dip your toe in.
And now it's not like they grabbed personnel this offseason to do that. The Ohio State wing got Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly, who's
yeah.
I don't even know if that's a good move anymore.
If Ryan Day is not in charge of the offense anymore and they got Will Howard, that kind of makes sense. Like that, if they're going to be that offense now.
I mean, but that's actually a very interesting parallel because Ohio State is also entering a season where they have a quarterback who is not going to be that highly rated by the NFL.
Yeah.
And supplements his ability with his running ability.
Seth, we'll just throw Quinten in with you too.
All right. Yeah. How you doing, man? Seth.
How you doing, Rod?
Rod, pleasure to meet you. Hey, Quinten, great to meet you, man.
Or do we not have enough headsets?
I broke one of the headsets already, so.
All right. So we got 2 headsets for 3 guys. We're welcoming the whole safety room. We got Makari, Paige, Rod Moore, and Quinten Johnson. First of all, Rod, how's the injury going? Do you have a prospect of getting back on the field this season?
I mean, I'm going to take it day by day. It depends on how everything's going once I get to that point into making that decision. But it's going pretty good right now. Just taking, like I said, taking it day by day, attacking the rehab that I have, and then just going about it, just doing that.
So you guys are safeties, and when football is broadcast on television, you guys are usually not on the screen.
Right.
And when you are on the screen, usually it's not good.
Right.
So, like, what's the biggest misconception that you guys face, like when you're talking to fans or your family members about like playing the position?
I feel like they don't really know like what we do back there for real. So like, 'cause they don't see us.
Yeah.
Or they, you know what I'm saying? Unless you make an interception or something.
Yeah.
Other than that, they don't be knowing. Like, we doing our job. We're doing our job very well too, and you know, making plays, not just interceptions. Making plays is being in the right place or making that tackle. And last second tackle too. Like, they don't get recognized for real like that. So.
Because if you guys are doing your job really well, you don't show up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like I have very little opinion about.
Yeah.
Because, like,
That's one way to put it.
I mean, like, no, it's like you laid out Emeka Egbuka in the Ohio State game. You, in the 22 game, had those 2 pass breakups that were, but you're like,
the pick too.
The pick too. And then Makari, Paige is
Who
the
is
most
7?
underappreciated Michigan player from these teams.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but so.
Who is 7?
But after the Ohio State game, Marvin Harrison Jr. tells the press that he has never seen coverages like this. And after the Washington game, Jalen McMillan, the Washington receiver, says the same kind of stuff. So intellectually, it feels like you guys are on like another level from most defenses in the country because of Minter, because of McDonald. Like, how hard is it to keep all of this stuff in your head and not bust? Like, it seems like I would expect you guys to be making more errors than you are.
I think I can answer this. I think it just comes down to preparation and a lot of experience, a lot of practice, a lot of time together. We did a good job. I think Coach Harbaugh did a great job allowing the defensive coaches to allowing the players to play within the same type of defensive scheme. So it was a lot of carryover, and the players took that and really took it in their own hands to learn it and then teach it to the other guys. So once it got time to go out and put it on the field, we was already pretty much one solid unit.
So, Rod, are you angry at Jalen Harrell?
Why? Why would I be angry at him?
Because I think you were going to pick that ball off at the end of the Ohio State game, even if he didn't get pressure on the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I would have. But he made it easier.
He did.
He made it way easier.
It's a much more impressive play because you're coming over the top of that coverage, right? Like, you've successfully baited McCord into that throw, and you're going to pop up there, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I knew where he was going with the ball the whole time.
Well, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not that hard.
I mean, if you want to be honest, I didn't know he was over there.
You didn't?
No, not until after.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were just heading over there because you saw his eyes?
Just the route.
The route.
Yeah, the route.
So, like, what's the hardest thing about playing safety? Like, for you, there's no answer because you come in and you're playing as a freshman against Ohio State and nothing goes wrong.
It's an answer. Y'all seen some stuff that they've seen that I did. It's some BS, but I would just say probably balancing because you're like the quarterback of the defense, so you have to be able to know what the people in the front's doing right in front of you in the corners. You have to know everybody's job. So I think it's balancing that and knowing what you got to do at the same time.
So how many times when you come out, you see the offense's alignment, are you making changes on the fly based on what the offense is doing, and how much
Every
of it is
play.
every play? So, like, every play you're seeing what the offense is doing, and then how many times, like, are you disguising coverages? Because if you disguise the coverage every time, they're going to get it, right? They're going to figure out that you're doing it. But, like, what's the, like...
It probably just depends on the play call we got. And some of it, you know, we can move around a lot more. Sometimes you can't really. We got to stick it in depending on the down distance, too. So it really just depends on the situation we in.
So one thing that I noticed when Jesse Minter came in is that you guys got a lot better at handling tempo. So was that – because McDonald comes in, he comes in from the NFL, and he's really not spent a whole lot of time in college, and their rules for spotting the ball are different. So how did that – was there a difference when he came in where you're like, you got one-word calls where if they're going tempo, we're going to – we have like a set of different plays that we can run, and was that an adaptation, or was that not something that you really picked up on?
It was just everybody was on the same page and knowing what we had to do when the tempo came.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be looking at the sideline. It just depends on what game it is and what the game plan is.
All right.
And honestly, like, as a defense, we also just got way smarter having that year under McDonald to learn the system.
Right.
And then as time went on, just the understanding of and the field knowledge just got that much better as the years went on.
So Quinten,
kind of a mix of both.
You kind of emerged last year. I mean, you were injured early in your career. It was in high school, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you came in as like a 4-3 guy, and it took you a while to see the field. And then you're behind these two guys. But eventually, like, we chart all the plays, and we're like, I'm sorry, man. Why is Quinten Johnson out there? And then it's like you're making interceptions, you're laying out guys, and you had Keon last year too. I mean, the depth of last year's defense was absolutely crazy, and everybody played in a way that I don't think I've ever seen like another defense play, where it's like you were getting 30 snaps a game, he was getting 30 snaps a game, you were getting 30 snaps a game. Like, what was that room like? You guys competitive about that, or was it just like, I know that Quinten can play, so it's like he's out there and I'm fine with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's competitive, obviously, because we play the sport, but at the same time, we support each other. You know what I'm saying? We want them to play. We want them to make them plays too. So, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, we all one group, one team. So it was good for him. It was good for us.
Yeah. So
then it was like the thing that helped everybody, the depth, is when, because it was probably the first 2-3 games, me and Makari was out. So
yeah,
Q and Keon was starting. So they getting those live reps and getting real reps helps everybody learn a lot faster. So then when me and Makari came back, it was easy to split the reps. So like whoever, it was a starter in there. If it was Q, Keon, me, Q, whoever was out there, it was just a starter every time. So
did you guys call Keon after you got hurt and be like, yeah, come back?
No.
I called Keon, but yeah, Keon living life though.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer that. I was just making a joke.
For sure.
Don't worry about it. So prospects for this year, you guys are. How's the defense shaping up for 2024?
It's very good.
Well, yeah.
I mean, honestly, like the defense, it might not be as, you might not have the same depth that we had last year, but you got a lot of guys that are older and wiser in their development of football. And like I've been saying, kind of in some of the other answers, as the years go on, the smarter the players get, the more comfortable they get in the system, and the more they understand their job and the responsibilities that they do have on the field. So you should keep seeing a natural progression of where the defense should be and how, even last year we had a really good defense.
Do we get a wrap
Next year
up?
should be that much better.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. It was awesome talking to you. Good luck this year on the field.
Thank you.
That was Makari, Paige, Rod Moore, and Quinten Johnson. Apologies for the mic issues we're having, but that's life. Yeah, we're ready.
welcome in Colson Loveland, a tight end for the Michigan Wolverines. Last time I saw him, he was picking his family out of the crowd when they were about to go celebrate the national championship. So it's good to see you again.
Likewise, good to see you guys.
Yeah. So entering your junior year, Michigan has graduated a couple of high-end wide receivers. It looks like you're going to be a primary target. Like, what are your goals in terms of just numbers for this year?
I got some number goals. I like to keep those to myself.
Okay.
But yeah, like you said, had some key guys graduate, big parts of the team. But like you said, we got guys returning like me, Dono, a lot of guys on the O-line, you know, everywhere on the offense. But mainly like the young guys coming in. Like I think we got a lot of underrated guys. So you know, we got people that left, but we got guys that are ready to fill in and prove themselves. So
you came in as a true freshman, and you're kind of popping up during the season, you know, and you're coming out of Idaho, but you're getting some snaps, you're making some plays, and like, what was the moment during your freshman season where you're like, I can do this, like I can do this now?
Yeah, I think it all started like the Illinois game. I think that's when I got Scooney, who was in front of me. I think he was hurt that game, or taking limited reps or something, and so I played a lot of snaps that game, close game, made some key catches, and then after that I was kind of like, oh yeah, I could definitely, you know, I could definitely do this. Then got a first touchdown at O State, and then after that it was kind of rolling.
Yeah, and so fast forward to the Alabama game, and this is something that, you know, I don't know how, like I see something happen and I'm kind of like, oh, was that planned? And I'm never really sure. But kind of early in the first half, you're matched up against Makari Moore. And you crush him off the line of scrimmage. And 8 yards. And when it comes back to that 4th and 2 on the final drive, they motion you in. It's the same package. And they slip Corum into the flat, and Makari Moore goes with you. Did you think that might happen at the time? Was it like, okay, we're going to get this guy because I did this in the first half, or is that just like you're just running the play?
Yeah, really running the play, but I mean that's a shout out to our OC.
Yeah,
just calling plays. Like they see that. Obviously, we're giving them a bunch of looks. We're doing the same thing, same formation, a bunch of different routes, concepts. You know. So yeah, I mean that was a great play call there. Obviously, the flat was wide open. They bit on the run heavy, but like we were running it all game. So
yeah,
we knew, you know, everyone when they play us, they'll stack the box. They're ready for the run. So it was kind of free.
So one,
we're all waving at Greg Dooley. You might have to put him on a mic in a minute.
Yep,
yeah.
Shout out Greg Dooley.
Yeah,
he knows everybody.
Yep. Another specific play I wanted to ask about was the O State game in 22 when you turn it up and you got Lathan Ransom diving outside. Is that planned into it too, or are you watching him to see how is that connection made? Just practice that play all week. And then, me and Cornelius kind of got hung up. It was cornering up. He bit on the corner before I even really did anything. So once I started, I almost thought they had the play call down. It looked like they knew it was coming. Yeah.
So it was like, oh, he's out there. I'm just gonna cut my route a little short and go now. And then JJ put a ball right on the money, and it was a touchdown.
Are they gonna line you up more outside more this year? Do you think?
Yeah, I think I'll be able to line up everywhere and. Wherever the team needs me to be successful.
Well, because one thing that kind of jumped out to me, a Big Ten championship game, you have that touchdown against Purdue.
Yep.
That's a back shoulder throw. It's just kind of like a go up and get it throw.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh never did that. Like Harbaugh never wanted to throw just like a 50-50 ball. But with you, he's like, all right, I'll make an exception for Colson Loveland.
Yeah. No, that was another crazy touchdown. Great ball by 9. Just put it where no one can get it except me. It's either going to be a catch or an incomplete. And it was exactly how we drew it up.
So we were talking to Max Bredeson earlier, and I brought up the fact that he and Barner were 1 and 2 in Pro Football Focus's run block rating.
Yeah.
Did you get any stick from them for not being up there with that?
Yeah. They gave me some stick, but everyone hates on the run blocking, but I think I'm a pretty good run blocker.
No, I mean.
Barner and Brad. I mean, those guys are in the trenches getting it done.
For real,
yeah. Those guys really do that. Brad really does that.
Do you want to hand your mic to?
Yeah, sure.
Samaj?
Join us.
We also did I get unplugged here? What happened here? Okay. We also welcome in Samaj Morgan. How you doing, Samaj?
Good. How you doing? See, little my guy.
I was going over the Alabama game recently, and it was remarkable how big of a part of the game plan you were. And I was looking at one play specifically, where it was the rollout, and they had to throw it to Mullings, but you were in the end zone, and you were hopping up and down, because you knew you were going to be open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's a lot of faith to put in a true freshman in the Rose Bowl, and that, like. Do you think that's going to be a springboard for you as a sophomore to, like, really break out?
Yeah, I feel like, the momentum I had last year, not saying it was the best freshman year, ever, but, I feel like I did do, a little bit more than average. So I feel like coming from last year, going into this year, I feel like my teammates and my coaches have a little bit more trust in me and more belief in me. And I feel like, some of the guys ready to see what more I can do. And, I'm also ready to see what more I can do on the field. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're a slot, but they targeted you downfield quite a lot for a guy who is just coming in. And, stereotypically, you're not going to be a guy who you're going to target 30 yards downfield. But one of your first catches is like a back shoulder fade, like Jeremy Gallen light there. It's like.
Yeah. That's just the trust. That's just the trust factor that came in. They trusted me to know what I was doing.
Yeah.
At the certain times I was in. Like that. My first touchdown, the back shoulder of the little fade route I ran. That was just a normal play, and JJ just picked like who he wanted to throw it to.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. Like anybody could have got it on that play. So you know what I'm saying. I just feel like that was a trust factor that even had me in the game.
I mean, that's remarkable because usually freshman wide receivers come in and they don't even know where to line up. And did that happen to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be truthful. That used to be me. Yeah. I'm going to be truthful.
Did you say anything to that Iowa safety when he tracked you down?
That's crazy. I actually played with him in high school. We was
really?
on the same 7-on-7 team. So,
he's from Michigan.
I actually already knew him, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guy, Cohen. Shout out Cohen, man. Good effort. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, I wasn't really tripping, though. I mean, I was tired. I made like 3-4 cuts, and then I was running far. So, yeah.
It was 87 yards.
Shit, yeah. But, I believe, shit. Blake, he pretty much sure anywhere. So, you know, I knew he was going to get the score, So, I'm just like, I'm glad we went down there. I'm glad we don't got to drive 80 yards.
Just give it to Blake and we're going to be done.
Yeah.
So you guys are entering 2024, new quarterback, new offensive line. Like, how's the offense shaping up in your opinion?
I think we're looking good. Looking good in spring. Obviously, just finding some new pieces, finding some stuff out. Lost a lot, but man, we got a lot of, like I've been said earlier, a lot of young guys, a lot of underrated guys that I think are going to pop on the scene. And we're just staying down, doing our thing, grinding, and gonna let it all show week one.
You got any predictions for who the starting quarterback's gonna be?
I mean, man, they're all competing and working right now. It's gonna be a big camp for all of them. But we know whoever's starting week one is gonna put us in good hands, and they're gonna be in good hands. We believe in all of them.
Can you throw, Samaj?
Yeah, I can throw really well. Yeah.
We're gonna get that in the playbook.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Coach Campbell.
All right, we're getting the signal to let you guys go. It was excellent talking to you. Thank you, guys.
Yep, appreciate you.
Thanks.
We welcome in SHERRONE MOORE, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. How's it going, SHERRONE?
Great. Doing great. Excited.
So this has been a whirlwind year for you. And I just want to ask you, like, you're on the plane going to Penn State.
Uh-huh.
How does the news that Jim Harbaugh's been suspended sort of percolate through the team?
Yeah, I'll show you.
You'll show me.
We're on the plane.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You know, I'm actually sitting right by Coach. There's a seat between me and Coach. Coach is sleeping. He's knocked out. And we land, and I look at my phone. And I think as we're landing, the internet comes on or whatever, and I see the news. And I just show him, and he just like, what? And like we show Ward, and we show everybody, and everybody just finds out on the plane. So, you know, at that point we were just like, we didn't know that was going to happen, didn't know what was coming. So we just, you know, tried to put together a plan that we thought would be successful. And Coach being coach was, you know, really about say, hey, how can we, you know, should I fight this? What should I do?
Right.
And the coolest thing about him is he told me, he said, if I don't fight it and I just take the suspension, he's like, they'll make it about the players, and they won't make it about me. He's like, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the players. He's like, because we're going to win anyway.
Right.
And, you know, that time he told me, he's like, you're going to be the head coach for these 3 games. And, you know, we just galvanized each other and went out and executed.
And so you've been the offensive coordinator. You've been the offensive line coach. You've never been a head coach. And then all of a sudden, Michigan's first test, they're at Happy Valley, top 10 Penn State team. you're all of a sudden the head coach.
Yep.
Are you freaking out at this point? Like, what is your
Yeah.
What was your emotional reaction to?
I mean, I wasn't really freaking out. It's a kind of a scary calm.
Right.
Because the preparation that we've had all week, the preparation that we really had all year, starting in January, kind of prepared not just me, but the players and the team for the moment. And I just looked at the team and the players, and they said they had my back, I had their back, and we were together. So that's what it was all about.
Well, and this game develops. You have a lot of pressure early, and so you got to go on the ground, and you don't call a pass that's actually in the record book in the entire second half. That's a lot of balls for a first-time head coach.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you got to do to win. Yeah. That wasn't planned. I didn't even think about it, and I didn't really know until the end of the game that happened. So just try to call plays that I thought were going to work.
I mean, it makes sense in the context of the defense they're showing you, right?
Yeah.
They're just spiking gaps, and you're like, okay, I can play. I'll add more gaps.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, was that a conversation on the sideline? Like, here's what they're trying to do to us. Like, let's just hit them?
I mean, I think our players are really smart, and our coaches are smart. We kind of know, when teams are doing things, how we have to adjust, and it was all about adjustments, and we made the right adjustments.
So you win the Big Ten, you draw Alabama in the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And from the moment you draw Alabama, like, what's the process of drawing up that game plan?
I think the first thing that we all did when we saw we were playing Alabama, we all looked at each other and nodded and said that's who we wanted. I think our team didn't want to play anybody else but the best. And Nick Saban, what he's done over his time period, probably one of the greatest coaches to ever coach a game, college or NFL. And that team, how they had been, they lost early in the year, but then they came back and beat the defending national champions. For us, we wanted to play a team like that and prove, not to everybody else, but to ourselves how good we were. And so from that point on, I mean, as soon as we got that notice, I was on the plane back. I was watching Alabama film. The players were watching Alabama film, and it was a constant process of a game plan to develop what we had in the Rose Bowl.
So I go back and I chart this game, and one thing that I notice is there's a lot of Alabama linebackers pointing.
Yeah. It's my favorite thing.
So I follow a guy named Dan Casey on Twitter, and all season he's posting about something he's calling RB mesh traffic, which is the first touchdown you score with Quorum coming out of the backfield. Do you follow Dan Casey on Twitter, or
I do.
You do?
Mean, one of our players last year, Trevor Keegan, would always send me pass concepts, ironically, of stuff that he'd have up. I mean, I think he's a really good coach and a really good football mind. So it's pretty cool. He has some cool little ideas and things. So we definitely look at those things. I think if you always got to learn from everywhere, not just in your building, but outside your building, what you're doing. So we definitely looked at some of the stuff. But yeah, that was a play we'd had drawn up for a while, and it was just about the time to do it. And our players knew when we got to that certain point that it was going to be called. I mean, they just all looked at me like, "Are we going to call it now?" And I said, "Yeah, call it."
So, final drive of that game. You come out a couple of runs. You have the Orji kind of fake end around that gets broken up.
Yep.
It's 4th and 2, and you motion into a tight bunch. It's the same thing that you did in the first half where you got Colson Loveland to blow Malachi Moore off the ball for 8 yards. Is that in your head when you're calling that play?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I wanted, that play was developed as we did the game plan to make it feel and look like that same play. I think I was told a long time ago that every great play call tells a story in their game plans and in their play calls. So, we wanted to make it all look the same. You want the shift come in. We even moved the back to make it look the same. And earlier in the game, we just ran our inside zone duo play. And, after that, we just, we made the same thing. It was 4th and 2 and threw it out to Blake.
So you did a clinic earlier this year. I watched a clip of it, and you broke down like how many gap plays you run, how many inside zone plays, and duo was 6%. And I've been charting these plays, and I've been labeling half the running plays duo. So how do I get better at distinguishing between inside zone and duo?
Well, I can't tell you that secret right
now.
Too many people watch this. So
all right,
I can't tell you.
So it's not my fault because it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
That makes me feel a little better.
Okay.
So entering 2024, your first year as a head coach permanently. A lot of people left the team. Expectations are kind of nobody really knows what to expect, especially in the new Big Ten. How are you feeling about the upcoming season?
I'm excited. I think our team is always execute the best when they got a chip on their shoulder. And, you know, really for us, it's not about what other people think. It's about what we think in the building, and it always has been. So we're just excited to prove ourselves right and play game by game.
Is it tricky because you have a quarterback competition? You have Alex Orji, who's a very different kind of quarterback than Jack Tuttle or
Davis Moore,
and so if he's the starter, is your offense going to have to be significantly different than if someone else is the starter?
Guess we'll have to find out.
This is when I was talking about questions that I shouldn't ask because they can't answer.
I know, yeah. I mean, Texas is trying to get stuff off the MGoPodcast, and they're trying hard,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's some preparation.
Yeah.
So going into the Washington game, that felt like Alabama was the game plan game, and Washington was like, if we execute, we win kind of game. So Donovan Edwards, his first couple of plays, people are on Donovan Edwards because like he runs one of them into the backside of his offensive lineman before changing direction. But I'm just like, I want him to press the gap, and I don't care anything else as long as he changes direction. Is like, what does it take to really get Edwards like fully actualized? Because he was really good when Quorum went out, and he was kind of iffy through most of last season because he just didn't have that rhythm.
Yeah, I think for him it's just consistently doing what he's done. I mean, I love Donovan, and you can watch every big game he's ever played in. He plays really well.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like just continue to get him the carries and let him be consistent. But he's an excellent player. He's an excellent runner. He's an excellent pass catcher. So just excited to see what he does this year.
So offensive line, you're turning over the whole offensive line. Is that a cause for nervousness, or are you confident? Because, you know, Gio Hattie's played a few games. Greg Crippen is a guy who you've been talking up before you needed to talk him up. You have Josh Preeb, I think that's his last name.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Miles Hinton, who started a lot last year.
Yeah. So how confident are you feeling in the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way I feel every year. Even the guys that we had last year, they'd be a pain in the butt during the summer and during the fall camp, and we'd go through the same things. And you know, they wanted to be perfect all the time, and it takes time to build chemistry in the O-line. Like you're not ever going to be what you are at the start of camp, what you are in game 1 or 2, or game 3 or 4. So you look at our offensive lines, and I can go back to last year. You know, we weren't running the ball as well, and people were like, oh, they're not running the ball. And all of a sudden, against Bowling Green, the first play of the game, we run for a 70-yard play, and it's like, oh, okay, now we can run the ball. Well, it's not that. It's just like it takes time to gel, regardless of who's in the game. So I know we placed Olu and had Drake last year. So it's always a different line, and you're not going to keep those guys for 10 years. So you got to train them. So like, feel good about the guys we have.
You had, I mean, it was just extraordinarily fortunate that you had 2 centers transfer in seamlessly, because that's like the hardest position on the offense to learn. And I that's not really a question.
I told him before we do this, don't do the Chris Farley thing. Here we are. Yeah,
that's right. But like, I mean, I remember I was charting Olu, I think against Hawaii, and I was like, I cannot believe this guy is this smart already.
Yeah.
Like, he came in with a total knowledge of the playbook in fall, and just completely commanded that position.
Well, it took time for him. I mean, he didn't know it just out of the blue. He's a very smart dude, but I mean, he came in as well as Drake, and they were like, Olu came in January, and he knew the playbook by, I mean, the middle of spring. He knew the whole thing, but it took time for him to actually do it. It's the difference of knowing it in your head and then actually executing on paper, because there's adjustments and things you have to maneuver and do. So for him, it took going through camp and really executing at a high level, and then got him where he was executing the winning Remington and Outland.
So when I've watched offensive line coaches talk, it feels really idiosyncratic, where it's like this offensive line coach teaches one technique for a particular play, and he thinks that any other technique is completely insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you got these transfers in, you had Ladarius, you had Miles, you had the 2 centers.
Yep. Were
you correcting things from them, or were you like, we got to do it this way instead of the way you were doing it before?
There's a combination of things. I'm a big believer in, I have a couple things that I want done a certain way, and then, you know, attitude effort's one. You're going to play a certain way. You're going to play violently. You're going to play physical. You're going to finish, or you're not going to play. But the technique part changes because everybody's built different. Everybody's body structure is different. Your bone structure is different, so you can do different things different ways. So like Trevor Keegan and Zach Zinner, for example, they didn't do things the same way. And people probably thought they did, but there are certain little technique things. I mean, they started for 35 and 40-something games, and as they went through, they're like, Coach, can I do this? So I was like, does it work? Yeah, all right, let's do it. Do it that way and change it up. So everybody's different. So there's different things that we definitely allow those guys to play with in their technique.
So as the head coach, are you still hands-on with the offensive linemen, or do you not have time for that?
I'll be down there. When training camp starts, I'll be down there. They already know.
It's hard
I
to
can't get away from it that much, but I got to watch the whole team.
Yeah. I mean, you were an offensive lineman. How did you stay angry every single play, and how do you get the other guys to do that too? Because I know that's a big key part of being an offensive lineman is just having that, that extra effort all the time.
I think it should be just your motivation. Your goal and your job is, as an O-lineman, you're the big brother, all the little brothers around you. So your job is to protect them in any way, shape, or form. So that wasn't ever hard for me, and it isn't hard for our guys when it comes to game day. They do a pretty good job of that.
Well, it must have been hard last year because, Ladarius comes in. He's been a starter at Arizona State for 4 years. He's on the bench for most of the first 4 or 5 games. You have Trente Jones, who started for the first half of the 2022. He's on the bench. And both those guys come in halfway through the season, or towards the end of the season in Trente's case, and they perform. Like, how did you manage that? Because most teams these days, if you're a backup, you're out. Transferring, you're gone. But these guys were actually loyal to Michigan. Like, what does that say about the camaraderie of the room?
It just talks about the culture of who we are, and it's way bigger than one person. The sum of everything and the goals that we want, it takes everybody. And I always tell our guys, like, it takes 10 linemen to win a championship, and like it did last year.
Sometimes all on the same play.
Could be. Haven't done that one yet, but thought about it.
So now we put the idea in your head, so we're going to take credit for it.
It's already been in there, so.
Okay.
What's the craziest thing that Keegan and Zinner came with you with? They were like, we got to run this, and you're like, no.
I mean, there's multiple. Keegan was every week, and like, he's a smart, one of the smartest football players, period, I've ever been around. I mean, he helped those centers too get better because he knew everything, and asking him things on game day adjustments, he was a huge part of everything. So. But, I mean, there were some plays. I'm just like, bro, I don't know how we're going to run this. First of all, there's not enough people on the line of scrimmage. And no, I'm not giving you the football. So.
You could have given him it once.
No. Take it out of JJ's hand and let him throw it? No, that's not.
Against Hawaii.
No.
Hey, you let Kalel throw it one time.
I know. True. And the crazy thing about that is Donovan was supposed to throw it, but he had a broken hand.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, that play would have been a touchdown if it was just regular play action.
Yeah.
I know. It looks better that way, though.
It was more fun. Yeah.
I like that for a little fun.
So let's go back to that game, 22 Ohio State. You're not really moving the ball. Quorum's out. You're having issues. And then all of a sudden you have these, was it back-to-back? These back-to-back drives with the huge plays.
So it was a 3rd and 10. They zero blitzed us. We threw it to CJ. He broke a tackle. And then we broke a tendency of P and 10 first time, throwing a shot play. So threw a deep post to CJ, and it was a touchdown.
Yeah. So I saw that 3 guys are all converging on the dig, and there's only Cam Martinez is going way out the wrong way.
Like a cover 2, and he got turned around. So bad deal for him.
but I mean, it did look like they had that scouted. That maybe I guess you guys had set that up enough that they were like keying on that dig, and then we're not expecting him to go on to even throw the post on that one.
Yeah.
Well, you guys probably ran more digs than any team in America last year.
Possibly.
And then you come into the Alabama game, and that Tyler Morris touchdown, like, they have a safety who's just on dig duty, and then you have like both Donovan Edwards and Morris matched up against their linebackers. Like, was that part of the game plan? Is like, Alabama has seen us throw 50 digs this year.
No, it was really just man coverage. So
that was
everybody was covered, and we just got the matchup we wanted.
Well,
so Tyler was on the linebacker, so thought it would be a good matchup for us.
Okay.
Right.
Because when I see anything, I'm like, was this part of the plan? Is this and so it's good to get some clarification on kind of the things that I'm not really sure about.
Yeah. All right. What last question, because we're getting moved along here. Are you what do you want from the fans this year? Like, what can we do?
Be loud every game. Make this place the hardest place in college football to play. And then just support our players on and off the field, because I think through the tenure I plan on being here for a long time, and I want to win every game possible, but there's probably going to be some adversity at some point until we are the adversity. But in those times of adversity, support our players, because nobody wants to win more than they do.
Absolutely. And I've been doing this for a while, and I've seen some things in the before times with Rich Rod and stuff where just ugly stuff.
Yeah.
Like people turning on players, and that's never appropriate. And
we got to win. We want to win too.
Yeah,
so
no, it feels like a different culture, man. I want to appreciate, because you were definitely part of that turnaround, and the fans see it and the fans feel it, and we're
Well, one thing that he said is that when Jim Harbaugh came in, he said that there will be no hugs. And I felt when SHERRONE MOORE showed up, there started being some.
There were some hugs.
There were some hugs.
All right, thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, SHERRONE.
Thank you.
Yep.
We welcome in Davis Warren and Kalel Mullings.
Alex Orji.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
Kalel.
Fuck.
Play a little back.
That's all right. That's all right.
We welcome in Davis Mooring and Alex Orji. I'm sorry, I messed that up.
All good.
That's all right.
Two guys competing for the starting quarterback job. You guys mad at each other?
No.
No? Well, that's good.
Not since I've been here, no. Not since I've known him.
So, what's it like, aftermath of the national championship, aftermath of J.J. McCarthy, there's an opening, and now you guys have to pursue it. Like, before, kind of knew who the guy was going to be, but now there's this uncertainty.
Yeah, I think just as a whole room, we all just came together and knew that, like, this team goes as we go as a room. And so whatever it's going to take for this team to be good, like, we're going to do. And I think the biggest regret we would have, but I know speaking for both of us, is not that we're not doing our best or putting our best out there or trying to be the best guy we can be, because I know we're both trying to be that.
Right.
But that we let the team down by creating an environment where we're not supporting each other and being a group. And that would be and create an environment where the guy out there, it doesn't feel that way, and it's not the best version of that guy and the best version of this room. So I think that's kind of the mindset I've taken, and I know Alex has done the same thing, and it takes both of us, and it takes the whole room and the whole team to make that happen, and it's been really a special thing.
You might be the worst scouted quarterback in history, because you had the COVID year when you were in high school, and before that you had leukemia.
Yep.
So, I mean, this must be a moment where you're like, now I can finally show what I can do.
Yeah, I think, I don't let it, I don't want to be defined by exactly what happened to me in high school, but I do know that it's a big part of my journey. It's a part of where I'm at now, and I think I don't really look at it as like a huge chip on my shoulder because I always believed in myself and knew that I was capable of getting this level. But it does feel good to feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be with a team that I want to be with, in a room of guys, QB room that I know I belong in and I want to be with all the time, and to feel that way about where I'm at in my journey it's very freeing. So it's been a lot of fun.
And Alex, you come in as a very different kind of quarterback than a lot of the other guys. You've been doing a lot of running when you've been on the field outside of the spring games. How is it different for you now that you might be the guy who's the guy? Like, what percentage of the time do you think they're going to call, like, Alex Orji, read option stuff versus are we going to throw the ball here?
I think that what's awesome about, the contemporary state of our offense, of our quarterback room, is, just the way that our, offensive coordinator, Coach Kirk Campbell, is able to use all of us. We saw it in spring ball. We're going to see it a ton in fall camp, just the way that he knows all of our strengths better than anyone else. He knows the way that we're able to operate. He knows our capabilities. And he always finds a way to, call plays that we all know we can all operate at a high level. But he finds ways to call plays for the quarterback who's taking the snap at the moment that they can operate to an elite level. He makes sure that, the plays that you're best at, that's what he's going to call in the most competitive times in practice. And even the plays that, you're not the best at, we're going to find ways to, bring you up to par or get you to that elite level and, get to where the stuff that you were elite at, you're operating at a pro level. And so he does – the way that he calls plays is awesome. I mean, there's never been a time in practice or scrimmage or anything like that where I don't think any of us have really – ever even had a second thought about the play that he's called. It's always going in there with full confidence. It's been awesome. I think that as far as mixing in the run game, he'll do it as much as he feels needed, as much as he feels like, we can get that extra hat in the run game, put a defender in a bind with a different read or whatever it is, but also just, he's a really fun guy to be around, just especially whenever he's calling plays or creating plays. It's awesome to just see a great football mind like that on a daily basis.
So you played last year, but very, sporadically. You'd come in for a couple of snaps here and there, and, a lot of guys have to kind of ease into it. They give them an easy throw to start, but for you, it's just you got to go. What is that like? When you got on the field, how nervous were you, or was it just I got this?
I would say I was always ready to go in. I think that the little bit that I played my freshman year helped a little bit with just, my first time being in front of 110,000 was, kind of later in a non-conference game. So it was, a little less nerve-wracking in that moment. Yeah. But so then this past year, whenever I was called on, I just felt like I was ready. When it was late in the Michigan State game, we're up 42-0. I just felt like, let's just play ball right here.
Well, and you take a cheap shot late in that game.
Yeah, it happens.
And then you punch in a touchdown right after. I was like, he made him mad now.
Felt pretty good.
Exactly.
But then just going into later in the season and the postseason, I kind of knew I was a little more sure of what my role was and kind of more familiar with how, Coach Kirk and Coach Moore wanted to use me. And you could go through me and Coach Moore's text messages from all last season. It would be random times during the day, during the week, game day, whatever it is, and I'm just texting them, letting them know I'm ready. Just because I don't want there to be any doubt whether I'm warm, whether I'm ready to go, whether I know my plays. I'll let them know no matter what, I was ready to go in. And I think that throughout the season, whenever they wanted to use me and take a top 10 draft pick out of the game to put me in there, I mean, the least I could do was be ready. I think that for them to put me out there and not be prepared mentally, physically, and all that, just to play the game, I think that it would have been disrespect to their play calling and disrespect to, the people who are giving me that opportunity.
So you're from Texas.
Right.
And Michigan comes in and recruits you. Did you know a whole lot about Michigan before? I mean, obviously they're one of the biggest programs in the country, but did you have a connection with Michigan before they started recruiting you? Or?
Didn't know a whole lot. They recruited my oldest brother when he was a junior in high school, and we didn't even end up getting to visit. So he didn't really know a whole lot, but my dad, as soon as I told him that Coach Harbaugh texted me in the middle of English class, he started losing it. He's ringing my phone. I'm like, Dad, I'm still on the phone with Coach right now. And he was just super excited just because he knew who Coach Harbaugh was as a player and as a coach and as a Michigan man. And then he also knew what Michigan was as far as extremely high caliber and, a classic of a program, a football program as we are, as well as the education and the opportunities that we have outside of football. And so I was committed to Virginia Tech for a long time, and then whenever Michigan kept reaching out after I ended up decommitting, they just, they stayed consistent. Quarterback coach, and then, Coach Harbaugh was just recruiting me and letting me know that I always had a home at Michigan. And then whenever I got the chance to visit up here, I mean, it was a match made in heaven. I think that it was awesome just to see, up close in person, the opportunities that I would have to be an elite football player and an elite human being.
Davis, got any predictions for starting quarterback?
Well, I was just remembering back when he came and visited, and I was like, who is this guy? I mean, Coach Herb and Coach Tress had put some work in on this guy to, beef him up even more. But, like, even when he came in high school, we were like, geez, this guy's a unit. And and I was like, oh, he's coming in the quarterback room? Like, he plays. And then, obviously we've become really close buddies and hanging out and doing trivia and going.
My first time ever throwing up here in Glick was actually with Davis and Max Bredeson. I want to say Peyton was there too.
Probably.
And it was just like Coach Harbaugh had told me, because I was just, a weekend, just wanted to, throw around, at least, get ready before spring ball, because I early enrolled. And they were just telling me, like, because it was right after the season too. It was right after the loss to Georgia. Not a ton of guys were around, but, Davis was still here. He was working out here and there. And, was introduced to him. Obviously didn't know really many people on the team besides – I want to say I knew Cade, JJ, and Davis at the time.
Yeah.
And so just, having someone to talk to, having someone to throw with was awesome. And being able to, just put a ball in the air with a guy who was also teaching me a little bit of the offense here and there was just awesome to be around and to interact with.
Do you guys have a favorite Harbaugh story?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's any player that's ever played for him probably has a ton, but then also just being a quarterback and how much he was in our room.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, there's some that
safe for children.
Yeah, some that you don't retell.
I would just say he was just an incredible coach, and
as a whole, yeah.
And whatever it took to win, he would do. If he needed to tape an ankle, if he needed to throw a Band-Aid on someone, if he needed to.
He taped ankles?
No, but I'm saying if he needed to, he would.
He would do whatever.
He would do whatever, and I think he was really just and especially as a quarterback, he just wanted us to do great and do great things. And I even seen him at the pro day, and he's actually living not too far from me, where I'm from in Southern California now. And,
that's right.
And so his little kids playing in the same youth football kind of program that I played in. So he's a guy who I'll never forget, and I'll always be grateful for, I think, both of us for bringing us here. And now Dono's getting hyped up.
Donovan Edwards.
Third string quarterback Dono here.
I don't know. You guys.
He has the best QBR, I think.
I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight completions and bombs.
Minimum 10 attempts though. I don't know about that anymore.
He'll get him this year.
Yeah.
I'll say my favorite thing about Coach Harbaugh was, besides like the Monday meeting stories or just being in the room with him whenever we finished a little early and him telling us whatever, I think it was just knowing that we had a quarterback as our head coach that, kind of had been in our shoes before and, was relatable. So, no matter what it was, even seeing the stuff that JJ went through whenever he had his best games or his worst games, Coach Harbaugh would always keep an even keel. And something that Coach Kirk preaches often is never get too high with the highs or low with the lows. And it was awesome to have Coach Harbaugh knowing that no matter what JJ did, no matter what any of us did in the game, you make the wrong read, you throw the wrong ball, whatever it is, Coach Harbaugh is not going to let anybody else on that sideline, another player, another coach, another staff member, fan, he's never going to let them get to us before he can.
That's a big one.
He would always, get to us and let us know, like, I was there my second year in the league, and Mike Ditka was yelling in my face.
I did that.
And I did that. I made that mistake.
He got in my grill, but you know what? And I think him just understanding that as a quarterback and knowing just how you feel mentally is that in that position. And quarterbacks play their best when they're free and they feel like they can just cut it loose. And I know that he played that way. And I know that JJ played that way, and that same thing is still instilled in us, and we're going to play that way, even though he's not here anymore. And I'm sure Justin Herbert's going to play that way too. So it's pretty cool.
All right. Thank you, guys. It's been a great talking
thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Appreciate you.
Deeply apologize for getting your names mixed up.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Ain't no thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
All right. Welcome in the cover athlete for NCAA 25, Donovan Edwards. When did you get that call?
I got that call. Thanks for saying hello, too, by the way. You feel me? Yeah, that's all I like, you know what I'm saying? We say hello first before we get straight into it. Yeah. But when I get it, I probably got the call early March. So, yeah.
Because, like, one of their lead developers is a Michigan guy. So,
yeah.
And you did score, like, the winning points in the national championship game in the first quarter. So, not too bad. So, I want to ask you a question about one of those runs. Because something similar happened in the Penn State game. You're running an inside zone or a do or something, and you're really pressing up against the offensive lineman. And people on the internet think that you messed up because you didn't act more decisively. And to me, like, you need to press that.
That was on the duo one? The second one?
The first one.
Okay. That wasn't duo.
Okay. It's very difficult to tell.
You're good. Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, you want to press that gap and you want to burst outside.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta commit people inside.
Yeah. So that wasn't a duo. That was just a straight inside zone.
Okay. Nobody can tell.
Yeah. Nah, the way that we be blocking, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
But nah, see, I like what I went wrong. Like, I just like predetermined it.
Okay.
I was looking at, the whole, like, where the fronts are, and I visualize, like, who's blocking where, like, what's the scheme, because I know, like, who's supposed to go where, what kind of scheme it is. So, like, this is where it should go. And it didn't go there because I thought it was just going to just go straight there. It's going to be like a straight line, make a safety miss, whatever. But, just kept my eyes up. It was a wrong read for me, for sure.
It was.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, your wrong reads are some of the best wrong reads in history. Because, like,
you score a 50-yard touchdown on a wrong read, then that's like even better. You're like, screwed it up, didn't matter.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're doing that, because like you said, the inside zones look like duo, right? Because they're going to extend those doubles for a long time, and when they're doing that, you just end up with that linebacker watching you. So when you're that committed to a gap, that linebacker commits too.
Well, that wasn't duo though.
All right. We're clear on this.
We know.
So I remember last.
But my thing too, my bad. I should have been more patient, and that's. See, like, my sophomore year, like, I was in more of, like, a feel and a rhythm.
Yeah.
Versus, like, last year, like, I did the match. I was averaging, like, only 8 carries a game.
Yeah.
So it's, like, some games I'll get 4, some games I'll get – I think I only had maybe, like, 3 to 4 games where I had 10 or more carries.
Yeah.
Maybe just 10 or, like, 12. It was only like, 3 or 4. So I was just, like, forcing everything. I started to force stuff. And some of my, like, I could have had, like, really bigger plays, but, like, I was just going in there where it's, like, like, okay, I know I'm going to go in here with this, and I'm going to try to make the most out of it that I can to where, like, it just wasn't shaking out.
You're just pressing.
Yeah. Versus, like, that inside zone run, the first carry that I had in national championship, I could have been a lot more patient. That's where, like, the second one, like, okay, I was like, all right, hell yeah, you feel me? I was way more patient on it.
Linebacker lost his damn mind, but
so I was able to make something happen because, I was more patient and I was actually more comfortable in the game.
People talk about this with running backs is, like, getting in a rhythm is, like, a real thing.
It's a real thing, for sure.
Because, like, your best stretch at Michigan was after, Corum goes out. You have that great game against Purdue. Like, you just feel like
there were a couple of runs against Ohio State. I remember too.
But you're just like locked in.
Yeah, for sure.
This felt like you were a little bit off last year. Is that largely because you weren't getting?
I mean, that's a real statement right there. Yeah. I don't know, a lot just went into that. Things that I don't want to talk about, which I could talk about one day, but it's just not not right. But it's just that's a real thing. Like like. I got 20 carries in 3 games, and like I averaged 170 something yards in those 3 games. Like that's a real thing. Like you got to get into the field. Like when you could get 3 yards, great, and the next play could be 20 yards. And I just wasn't getting that kind of feel last year, which is okay. I'm not really tripping. We won a national championship. We won games. Not really tripping about it. But ultimately, I think that it's made me a better player going into this upcoming season to where now I'm a better teammate. Now now I'm not pressing myself as I used to. I'm just letting the game flow.
Like you're getting touches, and you're getting a lot of touches this year, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like Kodak said, you feel me?
I mean,
I hope.
I have an inkling that you will get quite a few touches this year. But last year I was watching a video. I think it was at this event. Sam Webb, you were on a golf cart with him.
Yeah.
And one thing you were talking
Was
about.
it? Okay, let me hear it.
You were talking about quorum, and you were like, I heard when quorum came back, I was like, I mean, you gotta go get your money, and then you could have gone to the NFL draft this year.
I could have.
You could have gone.
I could have.
Michigan wins the national championship. It's an excellent point where you can be like, yeah, I won the national championship games.
And then get up out of here.
Peace.
Yeah.
But you came back, and like, why did you come back?
So I made a pros and cons list. Now I get a degree. I could be more involved in the community. I could be more supportive. I could really do the things that I kind of missed out on my freshman, sophomore, junior year that I didn't necessarily do. And then the other things were like emotional things, like mental things. It's like, well, shit, I could control that. Excuse my language. It's like, shit, I could control those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be more stronger in those things. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to ultimately come back. Like, I could have went, call it 5th round, 4th round, 6th round, one of those, like day 3. I could have went day 3, but ultimately, like, I could prove myself that I'm a day 1, day 2 kind of guy.
Yeah.
Coming back this year, so and ultimately, I just want to be able to do more in the community. I want to be able to uplift people. I want to be able to spread a message that I want to be able to spread, and ultimately, I think that I'm at the pedestal now to where I can do so.
Yeah, last year I thought one of the more interesting packages had you and Kalel on the field at the same time.
We did.
Yeah, you and Kalel Mullings.
For sure.
Yeah, and and
I mean, we're not going to call him a fullback because I don't want to.
No, don't disrespect him.
But the man can block.
Don't disrespect him like that.
And like I was really intrigued to see more of that this year because I think it's like because you can split out wide, like you can take an end around. Like I just think that's hell on all the opposing defenses. So what I need you to do is tell Sherrone that I want more of that.
Okay, I will. I'll tell him and Kirk that.
I mean, just go down to the Bentley, pull up some single wing.
Oh yeah, you gotta get Fritz Chrysler on this thing.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we talk about what this offense can be, a lot of the pieces are there. You got Max Bredeson's kind of blocking.
Damn
in there, right?
Yeah.
You got Colson Loveland, who's going to be a block pass threat every single play. You can't fix that. Samaj can get you out in space.
Damn
and then the guys in the backfield. I mean, you're just a explosive play waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Kalel has so many different things that he can do. You guys can all throw a pass. We've already seen that.
No, who's all of you guys?
Well, Kalel and you.
Yeah. I would
Kalel. Nah, see, I could say it. No, I could say
Oh, it's on tape. It's on tape. We know.
He floated that thing. He shot it like it was Curry with the, with the pole follow through.
He had a much harder task than you did, right? Like,
it's the same thing.
Running up, and he can't even see what he's throwing
It's the same thing. Imagine seeing a linebacker coming dead straight at you.
Yeah.
Get a smack, still throwing the ball.
That's true.
Well, he steps up
Sorry,
in the pocket. You just took the shot. Like when I in the Big Ten championship, I was like, when we grade those things, we give a plus to the quarterback if he stands in and takes a hit and throws that. You got a plus on that throw.
Thank you.
He also doesn't have. He can't be roughed because he's not the first guy to touch the ball, so it's open season on you when you're throwing the ball.
That shit hurt.
So prospects for 2024, how you feeling about the upcoming season?
I feel very confident. I think that our team is in a very great spot. I don't know if you guys have heard me say this, and I know that probably the people, our supporters and our fans know that all of us have a chip on our shoulder. Everybody on our offensive line, Miles Hinton, Josh Preed, Crip Raheem, Dom, Gio, Percy, Gentry. None of those guys really had the numbers called much of last year, right? So and same with myself, same with our quarterback situation, and same thing with like Timo and Samaj, how we had CJ and Roman. None of us were really the guys who were really relied on as much. We definitely are relied on, but like you had,
You're not the guy.
Keegs, you had Keegs, Blake, JJ, you had CJ, Roman, all these talented guys, and now it's our turn to be able to show, what we can do. So there's no doubt in my mind that's for sure that, that we're very confident that our team chemistry is high, and there's no doubt in my mind that we will be successful.
Over under on pass attempts this year for you?
What's the number?
5.
I don't know. I'm not the play caller.
You gotta say over.
I'm not the play caller. I can't give you.
I want one every game.
No.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I would love that too.
Well, we were calling for flea flickers every game, and then that started actually happening.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they started using flea flickers to pick up 20 yards. It was like, all right.
Well, I mean, that was they were
do what
covering
you
on
gotta
top
do.
of those things because it was scouted. Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
Did we get a wrap up or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It was lovely talking to you, man. Good luck this season.
Pleasure, man. Thank you.
That'd have been great to see you, man.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yep. And go Lakers.
That's right.
Whoa.
Peace and blessings. Where you go? Why you say whoa?
Wow, this is
West Bloomfield, man.
West Bloomfield, bro.
Oh.
He's
I
from
thought
up
you
the street.
I thought you meant the Los Angeles Lakers.
No. We're
What's wrong with the Lakers?
They're old. That's what's wrong with the Lakers.
You're old too. See you, folks.